Well, one journalist who spent a lot of time reporting on Zamazamas and on the underground network is Tankiso Makhetha, a journalist at Times Live. Tankiso, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. You've looked at these networks. You have so many people underground. You have guns underground. These are complex networks. How are they actually working? It seems you can get anything underground if you wanted.
Thank you, Stephen, for having me. These are very well-organized criminal syndicates, mainly foreign nationals. And, you know, we once went on while we were going on our story, we once went to a place where these guys basically get their, like, care packages, right? So they have, in the care packages, they'll have bread, they'll have tinned beef, they'll have baked beans, whatever. And each of those items comes at a cost. So your loaf of bread would be like 100 rand, your tinned beef would be 100 rand, your baked beans would be 100 rand. And they can basically get anything that they want or they can afford. I mean, I saw earlier on that one of your reporters was remarking about the number of condoms that were found at that abandoned shop. The sex workers are also taken underground, you know, for the benefit of these illegal mine workers.
Sure. And I presume that extends, I mean, it's amazing. It extends to weapons too. It extends to getting a gun. It seems, it's like a prison. You can get anything.
Essentially, yeah. But what's interesting about weapons is that most of the time that what we found was some of these weapons originate from our neighboring countries. So you'll find that soldiers from neighboring countries will sell some of their weapons, or armories in those countries will be broken into with the main purpose of you know, selling these firearms to illegal miners. And these firearms are not just used for turf wars. In some instances, you find that they're used for cash and transit heists, robberies within neighboring countries and within the borders of South Africa as well.
You make the point about links to other countries, and there's been you've done a lot of reporting about this, about links to Lesotho. We spoke earlier to IRS Forensic Investigations. Their CEO, Chad Thomas, seemed to suggest that, in fact, what you had was weapons coming from, really, the Lesotho Armed Forces. You've made that suggestion, but that, in fact, this was all organized. You've suggested this is linked to Lesotho politics and political parties. Now, power has changed hands in Lesotho in the last sort of 48 hours. There's a new party in charge. Is that going to impact on what happens with illegal mining in South Africa?
I'm not certain about the extent of the impact that's going to have on South Africa, but I would like to believe that this new political party is a couple of months old, this political party. It doesn't have any ties, as far as I know, it doesn't have any ties to Zamazama groups. But without the police or law enforcement agencies in South Africa clamping down on Zamazama activities, I don't think that you know, this will come to an end. It's a phenomenon that's not going to end anytime soon.
Well, you make that point. I mean, the police, Mr. Bekele, keeps going around the country and telling everyone everywhere that the police will act, that they'll stop illegal miners. But you've got these guns, possibly coming from the military of another country, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. You've got, I mean, if someone came to me and said, we'll give you a lot of money to be a police officer, go underground and stop illegal mining, I'll tell them to keep their money. It must be incredibly dangerous to try and stop these kinds of operations. Very difficult to do.
It is very difficult. I mean, also, I think it's slightly unfair to point fingers at our police service, in the sense that they're not necessarily trained to combat these sort of crimes. You know, Zamazama activities are a unique branch of criminal activities. They're not your normal everyday, you know, murder type of stories. You need a specialized trained unit that deals with this. Be it coming from SANDF, if need be, they can be roped in. If they need to get manpower from private security companies as well, that could be a possibility. But it's something that is a bit of a burden for staff.
So, I mean, it will require a big social effort, but it probably really requires, in the end, a change in the economics. The only way that you're going to break this up is to stop the market for what people in illegal mining actually produce. If there's no money, well, then it won't be 100 rand for a loaf of bread. There won't be so many condoms going underground.
Yeah. I mean, it also speaks to the socio-economic challenges that South Africa is also facing, and also, broadly speaking, what the SADC region socio-economic factors are. If our neighboring countries and our country had a proper economic structure where, in an ideal world, where everyone had a job and everyone had a source of income, there wouldn't be a need for illegal mining activities. But also, in the same breath, we also need to look at it from a historical perspective of Lesotho has always supplied South Africa with labor force labor force in connection to mining. Post-apartheid, a lot of mines closed down in South Africa. After closing down, a lot of people lost their jobs. After losing their jobs, they realized that even though mines are closed, there's still minerals within, the boundaries of South Africa. And that's where illegal mining actually comes from. A lot of Lesotho people know where gold is. They know where to mine it. I mean, the minister visited Klerksdorp, Stilfontein. In Stilfontein, there are about 27 abandoned mine shafts, and majority of them are owned, say quote unquote, owned by Lesotho National. And it does beg the question, what is DMR doing? And in terms of having a porous border, what is the Department of Home Affairs doing? Because some of them, if not most of them, are in the country illegally.
Tankiso, thank you so much. Tankiso Makhetha is a journalist at Times Live, and congratulations again on your reporting. And this really is fantastic. Tankiso, thanks very much indeed.